What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GameFreak. Today we are going to talk about a company that I believe that Blaze should get a hold of and maybe work out some type of a deal and put some of these games on a cart. And this is an independent game developer. They're not a big company at all. The name of that company is Joy Masher. Joy Masher. It's all one word. A little bit about the company here. I have it wrote down. They are based in Brazil. They're relatively new. I mean, they're not too old. They're over 10 years old, but they're not too old for a game developing company. They were founded in January of 2012. And I was going through their library, and the really cool thing about these guys are what they claim to do is they make 8 and 16-bit games. I believe they even make games more modern for like PC and shit like that. But they like to take 8 and 16-bit games and give them that modern feel, or look, I should say, a modern look, but they want it to play like the old 8 and 16-bit games. And they are 8 and 16 bits. So I'm a big fan of that. That's what one of the big things that drew me into Evercade. Besides the arcade carts, I like the 8-bit era and the 16-bit era as well when it comes to consoles. Now these guys, I looked up some of their games, but I found 4 games in particular that I think would be absolutely great on the Evercade. Now, granted, I've never played any of these games, so the gameplay that I'm going to show you, it's not for me. I believe it's a World of Long Plays where I found some of the gameplay which they did, and I was like, man, these look amazing, man. They're both 8 and 16-bit games. Now, the other thing is, even though I only picked out 4 games, I would rather not have all 4 of them on one cart. I mean, if they did that, that would be cool, but why not do some like 2-game carts again, because like the Astro Bros cart had 2 games on it, Good Boy Galaxy cart had 2 games on it, Xeno Crisis. Usually them 2-game carts, they're pretty damn good, and I think that they should split these 2 up. But I wouldn't mind if all 4 of them were on one cart. But Joy Masher, man, I really believe that they could probably get a deal done with a small independent developer like this. Now, these guys seem to be willing to work with just about anyone. They did release some games and worked with Sony. So I believe a couple of these games you can get in the Sony PlayStation Store. They did stuff with Xbox. They distributed their stuff to Nintendo. They distributed their stuff to Windows. All kinds of things, man. I was like, man, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to work out a deal. Because these independent companies, they want publicity. They want to get their games out there. I don't see why, unless, Blaze didn't give them a good deal, which I don't think that it should be a problem. I would think they should be able to negotiate something like this. But, I don't negotiate things like this, so maybe it's harder than I'm thinking. But the games I am talking about, and maybe some of you have played these before, I was kind of blown away by these 4 in particular. This is the reason I picked them. They are games called Blazing Chrome, Oniken, Odalus, The Dark Call, and Vengeful Guardian. So I'm going to show you some gameplay of these games, and I'm going to kind of give you an overview of the games. And since I've never played them, I am going to give the overview. This is from like their Wikipedia page. So I'm going to read you kind of the breakdown of each game. So this isn't my experience with the games at all, but they do look badass. So let's jump into these games. Alright, so the first game we're looking at is Blazing Chrome, and this was obviously developed by Joy Masher and published by the Arcade Crew. The game was released on July 11th, 2019. Blazing Chrome is a side-scrolling run and gun with gameplay similar to Contra and Metal Slug. Players take on the role of resistance fighters Mavra and Doyle, fighting off robotic enemies across multiple levels. It can be played single player or two player local cooperative mode. There are 6 levels in total, 4 are already unlocked, and 2 have to be unlocked. Players can run, jump, and dodge. There are 4 weapons in the game: a machine gun, a grenade launcher, an energy whip, and a particle cannon. Players are equipped with a machine gun at the start of each level and can pick up more weapons as they progress. Melee attacks are performed if the player attempts to shoot an enemy at close range. The next game is Oniken, and I'm probably going to butcher some of these characters' names, but it is what it is. The game has an 8-bit style and it follows a classic slasher gameplay formula similar to Strider, Ninja Gaiden, and Shatterhand. The objective in the game is to get to the end of each level and beat the boss for the level. There are 6 levels in the game and an extra mission with an additional character in Contra gameplay style after you beat the game. Taking place in a post-apocalyptic future, humankind has nearly been completely destroyed by a global war. Those few humans that have managed to survive are being oppressed by a cybernetic armada known as the Oniken. A small resistance led by General Zokov attempts to defend against the Oniken, but are ultimately overwhelmed by the forces. Zaku, a legendary ninja mercenary with an unknown past, who is believed to be the only one capable of stopping the Oniken, is approached by Zokov and asked to join the resistance movement against the robotic forces, to which Zaku obliges. The third game on the list is Odalus: The Dark Call. This is a 2015 action-adventure platformer. An army of demons burn Haggis' village and take his son. Haggis goes into action to defeat them. It appears that a mysterious cult has kidnapped his son for plans of a dark sacrifice. Haggis battles his way from the village to a castle on top of a nearby mountain, twice battling 2 demonic generals on the way, killing one and forcing the other, a woman, to retreat. Along the way, he collects mysterious shards that ultimately form the Odalus Orb. At the castle's throne room, their leader reveals himself to be Haggis' son, somehow aged to adulthood and claiming to have lived 1,000 years. He offers to share the power of the Odalus with his father and rule jointly as the new gods of the world, but Haggis refuses and slays his son. Immediately regretful, he is soon filled with the power of the Odalus and refuses to rule the world, deciding instead that the world has no more need of gods. He summons a pillar of energy that destroys the castle, and presumably himself, as the female general looks on from the distance. And the last game is Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. This is a 2D action platformer, and it was released in January of 2023. You take control of a robotic ninja called Moonrider, who was created as a super soldier by a tyrannical, dystopian government. Having rebelled against his purpose, Moonrider seeks to overthrow his creators by joining a resistance movement. Moonrider can jump, slash enemies with his sword, and run to unleash a powerful attack that can instantly kill enemies if used at the right moment. As the player defeats enemies and bosses across 6 different levels, they gain items called modifier chips, which can be used to unlock new powers and abilities such as the double jump or enhanced armor. In addition, Moonrider can gain new weapons by defeating bosses such as a dark portal, which shoots foes with a blast of energy, or a spear used for attacking enemies from the front. Each of these new weapons can be used only a limited amount of times, as they share a collective energy meter that gradually decreases as they are used. So there you have it. I honestly believe this is a doable thing. Joy Masher is the name, again, and they're a relatively newish developing team out of Brazil. I think that something could be done here, and uh, I think it would get a good response because I think these games look absolutely great. I would definitely check them out. In fact, I do want to kind of go to the PlayStation store and see how many of these I can find just to actually play them for myself. But I would love for these, just from the looks, to be on Evercade carts. I would love to play these games on the Freecade, man. They look like they are doable games with an arcade stick, even though they're not arcade games. They just, them side scrolling platformers, man, they get me all the time. So let me know what you guys think. I think these games look absolutely amazing. I think they could make a deal with these guys, I think. Joy Masher, man, check them out. Yeah, these games look cool as hell. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out this channel a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. And until the next video, game on, everybody.